I was polite to everybody who I met, but I always in the back of my mind had a plan to kill them, just in case the situation presented itself.
Yo, that's
Something went
crazy.
south. I've already mapped out and planned for 3 different scenarios how I would kill this person.
Damn.
And I was comfortable.
Hey, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Colin, and we're back with another video. Do all killers think the same? Video by Jubilee. I'm interested though. Do all killers think the same?
I immediately regret it in a sense where I called my mom and I apologized to her and I said, I'm so sorry, I think I killed your husband. But then there was also the sense of like, oh my gosh, I don't have to keep looking over my shoulders anymore. I don't have to live in this fear that he's going to actually come after me because it already happened.
Now, already I recognize, bro, this nigga, I seen a video of him where he was, I know he a sniper. I seen a video of him, he was like breaking down like sniper scenes in movies. Shit was fire. So I know bro has like over 200 bodies or something. Crazy.
Kill them again.
Shit.
3, 2, 1, go.
Thomas Ogden was a beautiful person, and he was my friend, and what happened was an accident, and I would give anything to have him back. My name's Forrest.
An
and
accident.
I shot and killed my best friend when I was 23 years old.
Damn.
I felt like a shattered person most of my life, and there are still shards missing, but I just spent the last 5 years writing a very painful memoir. It gave me an opportunity to visit a lot of past trauma. I feel in a strong space to be a support for other survivors and create positivity in the world.
In his research, Dr.
Crazy
Morrison
though.
identified a paradox. A moment.
All my killing has been.
How do you kill your best friend in an accident? That's fucking crazy.
Survivors and
Accidental death.
All my killing has been in the time of war. So I agree with what I've done. Would I do it again? I would, because if I didn't kill that individual, they would have killed me or somebody else. I was a sniper, so I'm looking after a platoon of 20, 30 guys, sometimes as small as 6 guys. But I don't like strongly agree with it because of the after effects, like what it did to me mentally. And I was the first person I killed. I was 18, and I didn't stop until I was almost 25. So I don't regret any of it. I don't have any bad feelings towards those individuals that I did kill. They were just protecting their homeland just as much as I would too. So I would do it again to save my life or somebody else's.
Interesting.
I work in healthcare. What I do is I manage life support. So I'm the guy that pulls the plug on just about everybody. So I come from a very different perspective. I have to do that for babies all the way to like people at the end of their lives. I've been doing this for like over a dozen years now. So I'm like, okay, I've come to terms with what the job is.
But what do you mean you would kill them again though? I would kill them again is a crazy statement. That means that like, I mean, what bro said, I mean, it's his job. He pulls the plug. But you saying I would do it again is crazy though. I ain't gonna lie. But hey.
A dozen years now. So I'm like, okay, I've come to terms with what the job is. Yeah.
The crime and how it happened, it was not that I didn't go out to kill this person. And now understanding the impact that the crime had, not only on me, but the family of that person. That was a human being that I killed over some drugs. Like, and his children, his family is being.
That's the type of. I feel like if I mean I can't really speak on. I've never murdered anybody in my life, but I mean and I hope I never have to. But if I ever find myself in a situation where I have to take someone's life, I think I'll probably be like on the same spectrum that bro is. Like I don't know how you can. I feel like no matter what, I can't strongly agree. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy to just agree that you would kill someone again, bro. It's kind of mad.
Of this person, it was December the 24th, Christmas Eve night. Remember me and a couple of my friends were hanging out. This particular car came up, and the passenger in the car said, hey, I want to buy some drugs from told one of my friends, I'm like, he's known to be this person that will come through the community and ask for $100 worth of drugs, but he never has the money. And the guy did exactly what I said. He knocked the drugs out of my friend's hand, grabbed his arm, and started speeding off. And my reaction at that time was I pulled out the gun and I started shooting into the car to get him to release my friend. And days later, we heard that the bullet that I shot into the car actually killed him. That day, I will never forget December the 24th when that happened.
Over some stupid shit, though. That's crazy.
I would 100% do what I had to do over again because the guy was a serial perpetrator. He was after so many women. If he killed me, he would have went after my mom, all my family, my nieces, my nephews, every one of us, until he literally got what he wanted. I'm Tara Newell. I killed my attacker, Dirty John Meehan, in self-defense. I think it was really interesting how there was one person here who had experienced prison reform, because to me, my attacker would have been in there if I hadn't killed him in self-defense. And it's really interesting to hear about how there are people in there who are able to rehabilitate.
I immediately regretted it. 3, 2, 1, go.
If you're in Canada and have over $10,000 of debt, payday loans, credit cards, or lines of credit that you can't pay off or get to zero, first of all, don't.
Why do I strongly disagree? Like I said, I was a young kid. I was 18. The first guy I killed was with a 50 cal like machine.
See, that's just how you know people are different, though, bro. Like, that's just crazy. Like, that's crazy to me, bro. The fact that they're all people, different backgrounds and everything, and some people, even though the person they shot wasn't their friend, they still, like that guy there. I mean, look, it's crazy though, bro.
First guy I killed was with a 50 cal like machine gun. I was expecting it to be like the movies where you have this like feeling of when you kill someone, and it wasn't there. I didn't really feel anything. It wasn't until like that night I had this weird dream. The guy who I shot became the ceiling fan in my room. His arms and legs were the blades. His head was the center of the fan. And I watched him spin faster and faster.
That
until
is
he
crazy.
Tore apart and covered me in what he used to be. What was left of him. But no, I didn't feel anything.
This nigga's cold. His heart is cold, bro. Yeah, this nigga, look at his face, bro. There is no soul left behind. Look how he said that shit with a straight face, bro. Insane, bro.
What he used to be, what was left of him. But no, I didn't feel anything. There was nothing.
And what's left of him. So, casually, bro, crazy.
What he used to be, what was left of him. But no, I didn't feel anything. There was nothing like to feel. I knew that was the beginning of something that I was probably going to have to do for a while. No attachment at the time.
I can agree with you on that. I mean, identify with that because my first couple of years inside of prison, I detached from it completely. When people would mention his name, I would don't see him as a human being. And that was very insensitive when I look back at it now, right? But I look and say that was a way of me coping with the situation at that time.
I did immediately regret it in a sense where I called my mom and I apologized to her and I said, I'm so sorry, I think I killed your husband. So there was that, but then there was also the sense of oh my gosh, I don't have to keep looking over my shoulders anymore. I don't have to live in this fear that he's going to actually come after me because it already happened.
Sometimes family members don't agree with the decision, and that decision is sometimes taken away from them. Being called every name in the book as I'm walking in there, but they just don't agree, and then I'm like, I just have to go do this now, you know?
I mean, that's a crazy job, bro.
Good, or I'm not necessarily agreeing with it, so I'm like, I disagree, yeah.
The level of heartbreak that I felt immediately after.
How did you accidentally kill him, though?
Was indescribable, and I don't know if any of you have saw Red before, but I actually saw Red, and it was the most horrific thing I've ever ever seen, experienced, witnessed, felt in my life. I got charged with first-degree murder that night, and I was looking at doing 35 to life.
Crazy, just like that.
I couldn't even process that.
Yeah.
There was just so much a combination of horror and grief immediately.
I am desensitized to death. 3, 2, 1.
I already know this nigga. He's going to the extreme end, bro.
Go.
Really?
Somewhat agree. Why is that?
Yeah, why?
I do a lot of volunteer work, and the amount of people who are dying
Interesting.
from drug overdoses and suicides right now in the arena of trauma, it's becoming difficult for me to feel anything anymore with the amount of people that we're losing that we don't have to.
Crazy.
For me, it was almost like playing God, you know? I determined the time, place, when I'm going to take that person off this planet. And it put things into perspective for me, too, that I could be going at any certain time. Like when you have to pull it, you know, you don't know when that card is going to be pulled. So I've learned to value it more and know that it's very fragile, very frail. And to not feel anything towards killing someone would probably be more devastating to me than actually taking a life. It's not feeling.
Hold on, I need to clarify something.
Yeah.
I just want to be very clear that being desensitized in no way means that I don't value life.
Oh, yeah.
It's just difficult to
Managed to.
feel the mourning over and over.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, like I agree with you. Like there will be certain stories that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. But if someone just tells me like, oh, that person died of a heart attack, I'm just like, oh, okay. Like it just like there's no traumatic incident with that. So
That's
I'm
because
like,
you don't know the
like,
person, though, bro. That happens to everybody. Like, if it's a stranger, obviously you're not gonna be sensitized towards it because you don't know the person. But if it's someone you're close to, trust me, you gonna feel that. I'm gonna tell you that. It's crazy.
Incident with that. So I'm like, my brain just disassociates, and it's like, okay, oh, they died naturally. So.
And from where I come from, like I get to know a lot of these people. If I don't get to know them, I get to know their family members like very intimately. It's not immediate, like oh, they're coming in and they're gonna go. No, it's like weeks, months. I've had somebody like their 5-year-old son, and he was in the room, and I'm like, I gotta take your mom away now. And it's like after that, I'm like, oh my god, I'll go call my mom or I'll go call my dad. It's like it's really heavy.
What kind of...
But I feel
that's
like
crazy.
a sense of maximization of like, I don't know when my number is going to be called. Because even if I'm working in the emergency room, we work on somebody for 2 hours and they're like, we really can't do anything anymore. And I'm like, just like that, gone. I remember this one patient, it was very much like nobody was there. They just found him off the street. He didn't even have a wallet. He was clinically dead, brain-wise, so we couldn't really do anything anymore. Me, the nurse, and the doctor just stayed in that room until his heart rate left because we didn't want to see him leave by himself. That was one of the most sobering moments too. It's like as much as it was nice for us to do that, I just don't want strangers around me, seeing me off.
I think for me as a teenager, selling drugs, just hanging in the streets, just living a lifestyle that I didn't care if I killed someone. I was very desensitized. I didn't care. I didn't feel no remorse for it. And this was part of my own personal development. I needed to find a way to attach to that. So I started doing this hospice training inside of one of the prisons. And by listening to these individuals tell their story and the regrets that they were living with in their process of transitioning, it gave me a sense of a value of life now, and it shifted my mindset as this teenager who was very callous towards life at that time.
I've taken care of people. They're being on life support. They'll hang on for like a very long time till one specific person sometimes just visits them. And then I'm like, I can't explain that. I could take them off, and their heart rate will keep going and going and going.
One of the guys I was working with in the prison, he wanted to see his sister. So this dude held on until like his sister walked into the room, and he was like not consciously, but like she spoke to him and she started like talking to him, and you started seeing him move, and then soon as she was like, I'm leaving, and like within minutes
Flat.
she started like transition.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
my
crazy.
situation, I made him brain dead, and so he was in the hospital. And then when they pulled the plug on him, my mom literally had to tell him it's okay to go now, and then he left.
Some weird things about that.
Yeah.
Crazy
I
though.
think we're more than just our brain, right?
Your spirit's living in flesh, man. That's all.
I am also a victim. 3, 2, 1. Go.
Also victim. Oh, that you had to kill someone? I mean, I don't really know how you can call yourself a victim that you had. I mean, no, you can't. I feel like if you put in the position where it's like, because obviously you don't want to experience that, like, so when you forcefully or like, you know what I'm saying, out of your control, put in a position that you have to do it, that's something that's gonna stick with you for the rest of your life. So like, you know what I'm saying, you could be, but like at the end of the day, the person you killed is the ultimate victim. But the person that has to live with that memory, you could be a victim. You know what I'm saying? You could get PTSD from that. I hear it.
I feel weird.
You're trying to single the other.
But I feel like I have to be over here because the guy came after me. I was in a parking garage. I was just trying to go to the Jason Aldean concert that night. He started attacking me, stabbing me, and I fought back and I won. So I didn't ask for any of that. I honestly hated the guy and I wished he would be dead, but I never wanted to unalive or take someone's life.
My first couple years in prison, I saw myself as the victim, right? And that was, again, a way of me coping. As I continued to do some interpersonal work, I realized that I was not a victim, that I still made a choice in the crime that I committed, right? But I just wanted to share that. Like, I wanted to run over there, but I'm in this place of healing and reconciliation, and I had to, like, move away from the victimization mindset and take ownership for the decision that I actually pulled the trigger, committed the crime, unfortunately, someone died, and I have to take that on because that's part of my own personal growth and development. I remember on a Friday night, 3 years into my incarceration, I remember laying.
You can tell that bro. You can tell that bro feels bad.
A show called Dateline, and for the first time, I heard a mother really expressing her loss for the loss of her loved one, and that was that moment in my life where I connected with that. I'm like, yo, I did the same thing. And I went into a fetus position and I started praying. And all I kept hearing hearing this voice saying, I have forgiven you. You have to ask Gary, the guy that you killed, to forgive you. And in that process, this is where I began. I remember saying, Gary, would you forgive me? And I literally felt like in that moment, he forgave me and I heard it. And it's almost like a weight was lifted off of me. And that's when I began this cleansing, this process of healing and moving forward and finding a purpose and finding my voice and all of that that particular night inside of that prison when I surrendered to it.
I don't feel like I'm a victim for anything. Like, I chose that path. Started off wanting to be a Navy SEAL when I was like in elementary school. My mom helped me make my first ghillie suit when I was in the 6th grade. Like, it's something I've always wanted to do, and I knew it came with that, which was more than likely having to kill someone, especially in a time of war.
Yeah, I'm not a victim, but the only thing I would say is like they don't really prepare us into doing the job that we do. They do the day-to-day. Oh, this is what you do. This is what you try, and all that stuff. And then now you're like, oh, by the way, the doctor wrote the order. Go take him off, and now I gotta walk in, or like if it's a baby, they're still holding them in their hands and stuff. And like, go take them off, and so I never really thought about it. Like, nobody's like talked to me or anything. Like, by the way, this is where you're gonna feel afterwards, or like when you get home after you clock out and everything like that.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah,
get a
that's
handbook
gonna be
already.
crazy.
Like, yeah, they teach you how to kill, but there's no
How to process.
how to process it.
I have profited from the murder. 3, 2,
Profited.
1. Go.
Yeah, he's definitely profited. He's a fucking Navy SEAL. I mean,
Go.
Make
Yeah.
Blood money.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Oh my God.
Why don't you like that word? I don't like it
All
either.
right, I don't think it applies universally,
Yeah.
right? Homicide is a universal term. As far as profiting from any part of my story, no. I've spent the last 5 years struggling to write and publish a book, and I've spent about 80 G's on it and made about 4,000. And that's not why I did it. I did it because I want to help people, but I don't think that it's very common for people to profit off of recovery from stuff, right? Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
I guess I'll go over here then. My attacker, my show got made into a podcast called Dirty John, and then it got made into a documentary, a TV show on Bravo, and now on Netflix. And so I felt like I've been exploited.
Bro, you oh, come on, bro. Oh my, talking about you've been exploited, bro. What you mean you've been exploited, bro? No one forced you, bro.
And so I felt like I've been exploited in a sense because
Bro, you made bread from it, bro. You've been on TV shows, podcast. You've been on Netflix. Is that what she said? And you talking about you've been exploited, bro? God damn, bro.
Like I've been exploited in a sense because I did not make anything off of the podcast. Although people think I profited off my story, I did not.
But also, and you get
So what you mean you ain't? What you mean? So why you on the podcast?
to take his life.
No, not at all.
Okay, so if you profited off of anything, if I profit off of anything, it's my hard work afterwards.
Yeah.
It's my hard work to share and be of service. So, no, you didn't. People hate profit. Sometimes they just hate you just because you made money.
Yeah.
For me, as a speaker and a trainer, I struggled with that for a long time, right? You know, I committed this crime, and yes, I did all of the work that I have done to become the man that I am today. But then I don't sleep at night, right, knowing that I've made this bag of money or whatever. Any money I get, I want to be able to live comfortable. It's not about getting something in luxury. How could I help some young person? So we do the nonprofit work. But my 5-year goal now, or 10-year goal, is whatever profit I make is to create a foundation in honor of Gary. Going back to that promise I made to him.
I respect
30
it.
years ago inside of a prison cell.
It initially started as me writing a journal. My dad suggested I did that. I was going through a hard time, self-medicating and contemplating some bad decisions. Started off as that, and it got picked up by a major book publishing company, and it went on to become essentially like an autobiography of that time in. After accomplishing that, I went on to what I do currently, which is write, novels and stuff like that. Not based on my life, because I did feel a certain way about it, of profiting from killing, I get what you're saying too. All the work that you put in there after, that's on you, but I also see it as, well, I killed all these guys and I wrote a book about it and profited from it.
Were you an E4 or E5?
E5, yeah.
That's all the money you made off it.
Right?
Once again, complex issue that gets lumped together. If somebody has money, they must be doing something for profit. And I think where an answer is, do we follow purpose or do we follow the money? It's going to go away when I die. It's not going to matter. What's going to matter when I die is what I did. Am I proud of myself for the things that I did?
I often see money more of like as an amplifier for what people can do, what reach they can do.
Yeah, what you can make impact on now, knowing when I go speak to young people today about gun violence and about my story, the only way they can get out of a situation is if I have money.
Yeah.
Right? That I can create a safe space for them to go after school. So I have to make some money to be able to do that, you know what I mean? But I don't want to make a bunch of money and I'm living here and then I walk into the community and say, hey, young kids, put the guns down, prison, say no to prison, and I drive away in this nice car and forget about them, right? So that's where I'm at.
That's true, though. That's a good point.
Is about how do I make impact in the lives of the people that I serve.
You will never procrastinate again once you understand this. Because psychologists have recently discovered that the real reason why you...
Taking a life was part of God's plan for me. Was part of God's
lives of the people that I serve.
Taking a life was part of God's plan for me. 3, 2, 1, go.
God's plan. What if you don't believe in God?
I'm unclear with that one. That's why I'm like this.
You're on the other side.
Yeah, I wouldn't be who I am today to be able to have the experience that I've had and become who I've become without taking a life. I learned my lesson after all the killing. You know, my last deployment dropped over 30 guys, 33 people, and who knows how many before that. But what I had to get through and overcome to stand here today far exceeded anything I've done in the military. Being emotionally somewhat strong and what I've had to overcome. There's been a lot of dark nights where I didn't think I was going to be here, you know?
Why I'm like this?
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
I don't want it to be perceived to be insensitive about the victim.
Yeah.
Right? But I know on this part of me, I look at my friends who I grew up with at 19 years old, and I did 22 years in prison, and when I came back home, they were at the same spot under the same tree we sold drugs at. But then if I think about the Gold Diggers family, because their son is like, oh, God destined my brother or my son to die. You know what I mean? So,
but if you believe in God, then that would be, he already knew that before.
I get that part. I mean, I'm a spiritual man, right?
Yes,
but I'm just like, I don't want it to. That's my dilemma when it comes to.
There's a God. I don't think that he's letting some kid be blown apart in Iraq because he's busy helping me look for a parking space. Right? I don't think that the realm of the spirit is as concerned with human affairs. I think that the sun rises and sets for a reason. It rockets through space at 40,000 miles an hour with a bunch of rocks around it for a reason, and animals have instinct for a reason, and I think human beings, it's a little different. And I think things just happen sometimes. There doesn't have to be meaning or a plan.
That's true, though. I agree with that.
Who lost a loved one to wrap that. For me, my homicide is completely different than most of you in this room. Is someone died by me pulling this trigger, and I can't say it was in God's plan.
I pulled the trigger too.
Yeah.
I thought the gun was empty. And I still can't wrap my head around a stupid decision like that.
That's crazy, though. What was you think? What was y'all playing, bro? That's fucking insane.
The 4 safety rules, it never would have happened. And I was nervous coming here because I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. And I had no intent at all. There's no way I would have just put it to my head or on the floor or whatever. And I can't remember ever doing that before or after. And it was a mistake.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was part of my dharma. I'm a little bit more spiritual, so I think it was my life's purpose, to be honest. Because of what I do today, whenever I speak, I always have people contact me and say that they left an abusive relationship, or what I shared helped them get out of their attack.
Sharing your story helps other people.
Yeah.
You feel that.
I call it transparency transports people.
Yeah.
So I'm like really honest about who I am, because there's someone else, not just in a physical prison, but an emotional, mental prison. And by hearing your story, hearing all of our stories, it helps transport them to another space of showing that I can't escape this particular prison.
After having this discussion, Lester, choose a side.
You gotta pick a side, my boy.
I'm just gonna say, I don't think it's fair to make you choose a side. You believe what you believe.
I'm gonna stand this a little bit over. Please. All right, respectful.
I really like what you did, man. Because we move in seconds and inches.
Yeah.
To measure progress in
I'm right here.
years, you know?
That was kind of a lot.
What's up?
This episode was just sort of intense, and I think I need a little time to debrief now.
Enough reason.
Students with ADHD save 10 hours studying with the Scrum extension.
But no, by all means, go ahead. Enough resources.
Now.
There are enough resources for me to heal. 3, 2, 1, go.
When I was in the military, it was like looked down upon to go seek mental help or anything. Dude, you'd get kicked off the team, you know, in a heartbeat. I don't want a guy who's soft watching my back, you know. What I
That's a good.
perceive as
I
the
mean,
positive is soft. Yeah.
I mean, hey, I can't even be mad at the people that don't want you on their team though, because both of you, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, if I was your partner or your team member, I don't want no soft nigga, you know what I'm saying? So, you feel me? I hear it, but at the same time, it's like, bruh, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that is hard to process, so I can't be mad at you for seeking mental help, though, you feel me?
Guy who's soft watching my back, you know, or what I perceived at the time to be soft. Yeah. After each deployment, our therapist was like a 18-wheeler truck full of kegs of beer and more beer. And 12 hours ago, I just took a life, 21 years old, at a strip club in Atlanta, drinking, you know, till my eyes pop out to cope. We would talk to like a psychiatrist, but we were encouraged to write down, you know, I didn't have this emotion, I didn't see this, so we could get home early to see our family. But 2 or 3 years ago, I decided to actually to talk to someone and figure out why I was the way I was, because I wanted to change. I didn't like being, everywhere I went, you know, I'm looking at everyone and it's going to sound so bad, but I was polite to everybody who I met, but I always in the back of my mind had a plan to kill them, just in case the situation presented itself.
Yo, that's crazy.
I've already mapped out and planned for 3 different scenarios how I would kill this person.
Damn.
And I was comfortable being in that state of mind because it kept that protection, you know, that wall up. But it gets tiring after a while to always be that way. You know,
for me, I look at this, right? I want to run over here to the strongly disagree. It's almost because of the length of your sentence, and you, like I was serving life, I didn't become eligible for most of the classes in prison until I came down to my last 3 years in prison, right? Now I have to run back over here to strongly agree. After being a person who's been released from prison, I've learned these different things that now help me to cope with all of the stuff that comes with me living inside of a prison, not only being a person who took someone's life, but seeing other individuals get killed inside of the prison, right? You see people get stabbed in prison over some of the simplest things. No one would come and talk to you about, like, was that triggering for you? How did you saw this person blood spill out over the concrete? Nothing, right? This is why I challenge the prison system and anyone who works in that prison environment to create more mental health services for those in prison, because yes, that person may have committed a violent crime, but we don't know their story.
I'm like that with the military, man. Yeah. There's not enough, in my opinion.
That's valid,
it's not
though.
Encouraged enough, yeah.
I mean, I hear it.
Somewhat, right? I'm not going to say the VA didn't help. But when I was suicidal, I didn't call the VA helpline because I didn't want to sit here and fill out a strongly agree and disagree form and wait in a waiting room. And I called another brother, and he sent me to a program called Save a Warrior, and I experienced something, it might sound weird, called initiation there. The participant faces their own death, and they receive a transitional object. And something about that changed my psyche, and something clicked. And we did stuff like the ceremony for the dead there, where we write the names of the people we've lost and the people we've killed, and we get to cry, like feel and process and become human again, because war can break us, and prison can break us and make us incomplete and not human. And when we use different modalities to place that humanity back together, then we can have community, right? And community is the antidote to a lot of human suffering.
Yes.
I wrote a 12-step program for vets and first responders called SPARTA, Suicide Prevention and Resilience Training Anonymous. We meet once a week. And I used to think there wasn't enough resources, and the more I get involved, it's not that the help isn't needed, it's that there's abundant ability to create resources, right? And once we break that, we start to be the creator of it. We create the small nonprofit.
Hey, very good viewpoints, though. He's looking at it in terms of there's enough resources within you to heal, you feel me? That's how he's looking at it. And you know what I'm saying, looking at it that way, it's like, yeah, you can't argue with that. There's always, like, as long as you put it in yourself, like everything is always within us. You feel me? But the other dude is looking at it in terms of resources provided to him, not necessarily internal resources. And I hear both sides.
It's like the Matrix fails, you know. Yeah. That was long. Sorry.
No, that's
Well, I
good
have to
though.
apologize for like chuckling when you said that part because I was like, oh wait, I have a plan to kill people too, unfortunately. And then I use humor as my trauma response sometimes. So I strongly agree that I have the resources and the tools I need because I'm gonna forever be on my healing journey and I'm always gonna look for them and find them. However, talk therapy, I don't think is very beneficial to a lot of people. I think that a lot of therapists need to learn about the nervous system because a lot of what we went through, we had to use our fight response. So I had to learn how to calm my nervous system to get to homeostasis, the baseline.
Like as a person of color, it's like growing up, like as an immigrant, it's more like it is what it is. When you like things happen, it's like you don't really like, oh yeah, go see your therapist or anything like that. Especially working through the pandemic, I have never seen like that much death in my whole life, and I've been doing this for at the time like 10 years. And this was before the vaccine, and I'm like, I don't see the end of this tunnel yet. For me to quit the job would mean other people would die.
Look, you're not actually going to get anything done by watching another YouTube video. In fact, you're literally only procrastinating more.
And for me to continue for me to quit the job would mean other people would die. And for me to continue this job, meaning I would die. And then that was the first time I'm like, I really don't know what to do right here.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'm like, wait, there's this thing that's called therapist. Maybe I should go talk to one. I wish it was more readily available and accepted at the same time, because none of my friends go and see the therapist, and I can completely tell them like you wouldn't have certain amount of issues if you just kind of worked on yourself in a different way, or maybe not therapist, but like a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
like
pretty
coaching.
Right here too. Again, I want to run over here. Right? Went in prison at 19, walked out. I was 41, into a completely different world. Right? Wow. So now, like my organization, Path of Redemption, is that I want to provide that service. Like, how do you cope with when you walk into a grocery store after 20 years and you walk in the self-serving line, you got to swipe that card and you don't know how, or you walk through a line and it beeps, right? And you thinking that it's going to be tackled by the police because they think you're stealing something, right? And this is why, like you and I, individuals can create that.
All right, so there is not by any means enough space to talk about, like I was a foster kid, right? So I got raised in poverty and abuse and negative relationships. So what did I do when I grew up? I created poverty and I created negative relationships, right? And that type of a wound, it's such a cultural taboo that there's not a space to talk about that and the impacts, and then what do we do and where do we go from there? So
come on back over here. You got me feeling kind of. I was saying I wanted to do it, right? I think that's important, man.
And everybody in this circle is a wounded healer and also a servant leader, right? So when we see a gap and something that's needed, it's not just us. So that's where a tremendous opportunity is to create and be of service to other people like us.
I would say it was dope talking to y'all, like learning.
Yeah, this was very interesting though. Looking in the mind, you feel me? Interesting.
But listening to all of the different facets and challenges of it, I really appreciate it. For me, I go back to South Carolina and go back into the Department of Juvenile Justice and work with these young people. This is what I want to take back, right? Like this, I want to take that.
Same boat, man. A lot of preconceived notions we have about people. I might look at you a certain way, you, and never would have had a.
Exactly, bro. Can't judge a book by its cover, though. That's one thing for sure, though. Hey, man. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day. I'll be out of your way, man. Peace.